Well, hello everyone. Welcome. This is my fifth day of 10 days YouTube Live for your USMLE journey. Now, today's topic is about the USCE. I'm going to restart here. We're going to start from the front. All right. So, I'm going to cover the essential information that I would say you need to know. Hold on a second. Some error here. Just need to click pause. There you go. There you go. Okay. So, for today's session, I'm going to cover what are the essential information that you need to know as an IMG, right? USC is also a very big topic, and actually, it's probably, in my opinion, it's more important than USMLE, and I will explain to you why, right? So these are going to be the things that we're gonna talk today. What is USCE? What are the types of USCE? How to obtain one? What is your ideal USCE? The key to excel during USCE, so how you can be successful when you're doing the rotation and the value of USCE. So let's get started. Now, what is USA? It's a US clinical experience. Basically, you're doing a clinical rotation in the US. Now, this is very important for IMG because if you come from completely different medical curriculum, completely different medical system, you want to know what it looks like to practice medicine in the US. A lot of things are different. I can give you so many things that's different. I'm not a surgeon, and so I'm not doing really much of a real pre-op thing. Well, I do pre-op. I do a pre-op clearance, but not a pre-op as a surgeon. I don't do a post-op as a surgeon. And my colleagues who are a surgeon tells me that he's from India and tells me that I can tell you 100 things that are completely different from India and in the US. It's actually the same thing in medicine. There are so many things that are different. I don't use pager when I was doing rotation in Indonesia. We don't really use this telephone system, and we don't really all have a telemetry where in the US hospitals usually have telemetry, and the list just goes on and on. So it's very important for you to get exposed to the US, to know what it's like to practice, to know how to interact with the patients, because the patients' populations are also very different and also very diverse. Now, then another thing that I would like to talk about here is research. Does research count as a U.S. clinical rotations? Well, basically, research is not actually engaging in any clinical activity, and therefore we cannot really call that as a U.S. clinical experience. But you are kind of exposed to the U.S. healthcare system somewhat because of you need to get through the data. Usually, you're gonna work with electronic medical records, for example, and reading the chart, going through the chart, somewhat you are being exposed to. So you have some form of experience, but it's not a full kind of experience. So research, some people would probably say yes, it's somewhat an experience in the US clinical system, but does not entirely put as a clinical rotation. So it's not really a full clinical experience. Now, types of USCE. So I actually categorize this into two. One is for the medical student, and the other one is for graduated physician, because the options are different. Medical student has a lot of advantage to get US clinical rotation. So medical students can do a clerkships, electives, or sub internships. Basically, for clerkships, you're doing rotations, like for example, your cardiology rotations you can do in the US, or pulmonology rotations, gastroenterology, nephrology, whatever your clerkship is gonna be. You can usually coordinate with your medical school, wherever your countries you're from, and then ask for their help. Or you can just look at the website directly in the hospital that you want to rotate. And as long as you're a medical student, they actually have opening for you. So same thing pretty much for electives. And sub internship, or people call it sub-I, is the where you actually go to the rotation and act as an intern. But you don't take as many patients as an intern. You probably only take one or two patients. But this is sub internship or sub-I. Sub-I is the closest, like the most hands-on experience that you can get. So the value is really really big. Now, while if you're a graduate physician just like me, when I start my USMLE journey, I'm already graduated as a physician, so I don't have that much options. The options going to be observership, externship, or now because after the pandemic, there is an options to do a tele rotation. Now, the difference are basically observership. You just observing. You don't really touch the patients. You don't really review the chart, so it's very very limited. But in externships is usually hands on. You can see the patient and review the chart and take history, physical exam, discuss your clinical decision making with your preceptors, and you have a lot of value there. A telerotation is pretty much the same. You can be a telerotation observership or telerotation kind of externship. I heard that there are people who did telerotation and still able to ask questions doing history of obviously not a physical exam, right? And write notes and discuss things with attendings. So that's also another options that we have now since COVID. All right. Now, how to obtain US clinical experience? Well, there are basically three basic ways that you can do to get US clinical experience. And this is for graduate physician, basically, because if you're a medical student, I already show you that there is a electives clerkships that you can go through the website for respective hospital, then you can ask for rotations. But this one is basically for graduate physician because it's harder to get one. One of them is cold emailing. So cold emailing, basically you just email kind of randomly. So you want to look for a program that you want to rotate on and then see if they offer observership or an externship spot for them. Now, how do you know of the program? Well, you can look it up at FREIDA. FREIDA is FREIDA, and that website gives you the whole list of programs in the whole United States, and you can choose whichever program is going to be, whether it's internal medicine, surgery, or whatever program you want to be on. And there is going to be whole information whether the programs offer you visa sponsorships, what's the cutoff score, what's the cutoff of year of graduation, and especially who is the program coordinator. Sometimes the email is listed there. If not, the website is going to be there. So you should be able to obtain information. So FREIDA is where you can create your list of programs. Now, you can use whatever criteria you want. I generally, if you're an IMG, generally you want to find an IMG friendly program, and actually they listed there how many IMGs they have. Of course, they have to offer visa sponsorship. Like if you need visa, and you can look how many IMGs are inside the program. So that's how you build the list. Of course, if it's a different program that's very competitive, the amount of IMGs might not be high. But if you see like a dermatology, there is a 3 or 4 IMGs, maybe even 1 IMG is ready, I would say, an IMG friendly program. So that's how you build that. And then once you build your list, you just email them, tell them you're interested, and ask if there is any opening available for your rotation, and attach your CV and all information that you need to know, right? That they need to know. Sorry. Now, the second way is to network through social media. Actually, the second way is more likely for you to get one because you receive email from random person, like usually they just ignore you, right? But if you network through people that you know, and then the people that you know somebody, and then know somebody, well, at least there is some form of connections there. You have a better chance to do that. If you come from the common countries where people IMGs come as a doctor in the US, like India, Pakistan, Indonesia is not so much. So India, Pakistan, I'm pretty sure there are gonna be seniors that in the US that has gone through residency, and you can ask those seniors and see if in their program they offer observerships or some form of rotation, or if If not, they probably usually know which physician would accept some international medical graduates to rotate with them. So this is actually the best chance to get a rotation. Now, what social media you can use? Well, you can start with your actually usual social media like WhatsApp group, right? A friend of a friend. Or you can use a professional social media like LinkedIn, which is very good. There's a lot of groups, there's lots of doctors. It's basically like, I like to think it like Facebook, but for professionals. So it's very good for us doctors. So you can network through there and then try to find rotations. And third one is not so much everyone favorite, using agencies. Now it's more expensive, but you get the rotation, right? You'll get the rotation. Now, how good is the rotation for you? Well, it really depends. I would recommend if you go through agency, you want to find people that has used that agency and has rotate and see if they actually got a good rotation. So that's it. But I would use number one or number two. Try to look it up for yourself rather than using agencies. But if you really can't find anything, then something is better than nothing, right? So you use agents. Now, what is your ideal USC? I mean, there's so many programs, observerships, rotations, tele rotations, but what would be the rotation that you actually looking for? What's the most valuable for you? Now, it's going to be the ACGME accredited program that is IMG friendly. Of course, the program that you want to apply, right? So if you want to go for internal medicine, then you want to find observerships in the hospital that has the residency program that is ACGMA accredited and is IMG friendly. My cutoff is usually more than 50% residents are IMG. If you get 100% are IMG, perfect. That would be like my program. Well, 99% last. But yeah, so most of the residents are IMG. That would be the place where you want to go to. And you want a hands-on review chart, see, examine patient, write note, because discuss attending, basically a very, very hands-on direct interactions, because this way you can show that you're knowledgeable, that you're good with patients, you're good clinically, your communications are great, your clinical decision making are great. Therefore, you have a better chance to get that letter of recommendation that's personalized and value, and that can be used to match to the residency you want. And ideally, also work personally one-on-one with your attending, because if you work one-on-one, let's say for a month, then the attending would know you much better, rather than if you have one attending and there are like 10 different IMGs that work with. So it's going to be hard to get that personalized letter of recommendations. Now, what is the key to be successful, to excel during US clinical experience? Well, there's actually a lot of factors, but I try to sum it up to basic three things. Number one is the understanding of US healthcare system. So if you understand the US healthcare system, it's easy for you to navigate patients, understand how things work, and then you can really show your knowledge and then clinical decision making, rather than getting confused of what's actually going on. You see, so the more you understand of the US healthcare system, how it works, the more likely you can excel during the USCE. The second one is familiarity with the EMR, the electronic medical records, because for example, my country doesn't have electronic medical records, and I think a lot of countries doesn't really have one. And when you come to the US, most of the, if not all now, all of the SCGME accredited program would use some form of EMR. And EMR is the way for you to actually know the patient and extract information. And if you can't get the information, it would be very hard for you to actually take care of the patients, right? And it's hard for you to actually discuss of what you're actually thinking of the attending, because you don't even know where the EKG is. You don't know if the patient had EKG before, or had EKG in the past, or CT scan abdomen in the past, things like that. So the more familiar you are with the EMR, the more likely you successful with the US clinical experience. And the third one, and the most important thing, would be your interpersonal and communication skills. So you need to have a great interpersonal and communication skills in order to shine and stand out and be likable. So people don't want to. It's actually attitude is number one, and number two is knowledge. So they really want to see you if you are able to connect with them, able to take care of the patients, able to show compassion, caring, able to become a team player, etc. So number three is actually very, very important. It's actually the key, right? Now, what is the importance? How important is the US clinical experience? Now, a lot of people always think that US clinical experience is basically the way you can get letter of recommendation. And we all know that letter of recommendations is very, very valuable from the eyes of program director to rank, to consider somebody's interview, or to rank some a candidate when it comes for the rank day. Now, but I think the value of US clinical experience is way beyond that, way beyond just a letter of recommendations. Look, no one can guarantee you that you can match in the US. Not even when you have a USMLE score of like 270, 280. It's still not a guarantee. It's still kind of far. Not even like research publications, don't not there is no real way to actually guarantee you to a match. But USC is the closest way to for you to match in the US, close to 100%. Why is that? It's simple, because the program director will hire somebody that they know well. All right, so think about it this way: if you interviewed, I don't know, 100 people, 100 candidates, and there is this one candidate that work with you for a month or 2 months, they know you, they know how you work, people like you, you're respectful, you're knowledgeable, you're intellectually curious, you're reliable. Who are they gonna pick? People that they just met like for like 15 or half an hour, or the one that has been working with them for a month? It's obvious, right? Gonna be the person that work with you longer and you know better. So that is the reason why I said USC is the closest to almost guarantee you to get the match if you perform really, really well. In fact, did I mention this? I have a student who failed step one, failed step two CK, an IMG, and able to match in a program that is more competitive than my program. It's because when he did the rotation down there, he loves by everyone. He loves by everyone, even though I'm not really sure the cutoff score for that program though. But it was a really good program, and he showed he's intellectually curious, he's friendly, he's approachable. Everybody loves him, and it's like it's like no brainer for the program director to rank the person high, even though with the red flags of a step one, step two, they see the person who he really, what kind of person he really is, and therefore he can match. So this is and you this is very consistent with a lot of, if you watch a lot of interviews with people who actually match in a very competitive program, there are so many people that able to actually match to a competitive specialty by having a chance to work with them. It could be a rotation, but it could also be research. It doesn't really matter. That's why I mentioned that research probably one of the US clinical experience, not exactly, but it's a way for you to be known. You're not invisible anymore. People know you. So I think you got the idea now that how important the USC is. It's more important than USMLE. USMLE score does not really give you that guarantee, but the USC, when you actually perform really, really well, you're successful, you shine, it's you almost guaranteed. Yeah, you're gonna be ranked high and matched to that particular program. Now, it's interesting though that there are a lot of ways to get USC. Many agency offers rotations, right? But none of them ever teach you how, I'm gonna move myself here, how to be successful during the USCE, right? I don't think I've ever encountered one. Even though this is actually I think, the most important step of the journey. The thing is, there are so many things that are different between your country and this country, right? Not only the language, but also the culture, the healthcare system, the EMR. See, there's so many things that are different. If only, I was thinking, if only you know all this and you understand all this, and then you jump to the US clinical experience, how wonderful that would be. It would be the closest way for you, or the almost guaranteed way for you to match. So that is actually why I'm planning to make the USCE masterclass, which is, it's gonna be coming soon. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna teach all of you about this. The idea is how you can be successful in the UC. We're gonna talk about the communication skills. We talk about the cultures. What are the behavior that the US people see as professional, friendly, humble. How to improve your communication with patient, because patients here and patients home country and how you practice is completely different. And understanding and navigating, this is actually one thing that we're gonna talk again next week about the U.S. healthcare system. You need to understand how the U.S. healthcare system works. All right, the human resources, the agencies, all the facilities there, how they interact with each other. If you have understand that ahead, then it will give you a big boost. Like, you're gonna be years ahead toward your other colleagues, because you understand this ahead, and you can show yourself that you understand it. So now, and then how to navigate patient care through the complex U.S. healthcare system. Learn how to navigate the EMR, how to review the chart, how to get patient information beyond just the EMR. Talk to the family, and all those. I'm gonna put a list of common medical terminology being used in the US, which will help your chart review, because when you review the charts, there's a lot of different terminologies and can make you confused. If you already get used to that, you're years ahead. There's some drugs that they actually like to use the brand names instead of generic names. So I can give you those lists, how to present the case during rounds the way that most people like it, and so much more. There's so much more that I can share. Now, I would like to see if you can comment down below how interested you are with the USC Class course, and if there's anything else that you want to be in the course. So I will teach you all this, and I the goal again is to perform really, really well, to perform successfully in the USCE, so that you can be ranked high in that particular program wherever you rotate. Or if not, you're gonna get a very good personalized letter of recommendation, right? Now, don't forget that I have a free guide for you, USC Essentials Guide for IMG. You can go to ulishhayari.com/USC Essentials. A lot of topic I covered here, but there are a couple nitty-gritty details that is available in the USC Essentials. And that has a cold email template, for example, and there are some what are the things that you need for immunizations, health records, things that you need to have when you apply for USC rotations. There's some nitty gritty details there. It's all free. You can just go to the link and download it, and it's yours. So that's it for the session today. Well, thank you so much for everyone who is attending. I hope that is a helpful and valuable session for you, and I welcome any questions if you have any. Gotta bring my water. I'm very dry right now. Very, very. Probably you guys noticed that my voice is kind of hoarse. Actually, in the clinic, everybody's voice hoarse. The medical assistant didn't come today because he got the same thing. All right. If you all don't have any questions, we'll end the session today. Next week, we're gonna be back another 5 days, so it's gonna be 6, 7, 8, total 10 days of my YouTube live. It's gonna be all post USMLE stuff. All right, and it's going to be. I'll email you guys. It's going to be 7 p.m. just like right now, from Monday to Friday. And if you have any questions afterward, just leave in the comment below. I'll make sure I jump in and then answer any questions you may have. Right. That's it. Have a good night and have a good weekend.